Hello friends, Late Night Pyramid Intel. Today is May 15th, almost May 16th, 2022. It's the evening of the full moon lunar eclipse. I wanted tonight to be my first live video, but I had a small problem. I only have 36 subscribers, and I have had this channel for 3 years. It's my own fault. I haven't been focused. I haven't taken it seriously. My video content has been all over the place. It didn't seem that important to me over the last 3 years. The reason I'm making this video right now is because now is the moment of importance. Now is the moment when I have laser focused on my purpose and where I want to go. My mentors have been telling me for years that you have to choose one topic, one direction. If you chase all the rabbits at once, you won't catch any. You must choose and focus on one if you want to catch one. And of course they're right. But I just couldn't decide. I would try to focus on one thing and I would find myself just having so much pressure in my brain to go here and go there and look at all these other things that I finally just gave in. And it seemed like what I had to do because the pressure was so great. It was like an inner voice. But popular opinion from people who have achieved greatness was telling me that that was incorrect. So who's right and who's wrong? Well, in my opinion, both of us. Both of us were correct. Both of us were wrong. Because when you pay for an educational system by someone who's really experienced, that is gold. Their experience and what they're telling you, it is gold because it is the map to success. And there are things there that are priceless and will help you along your journey, no doubt about it. But you know, only 3% of the people who purchase a program actually have success with it. Why is that? I always found that number a little disturbing. Why 3%? I mean, what's wrong with the other people? Are they really that deranged or incapable or, mentally ill that they can't, focus and get it done? It seemed like a really high number for that to be the truth. Now, the number of the success rate is the truth, but the reasons why people aren't succeeding, I don't think that's been explored. And it's because following the same exact steps with the same exact timing and the same exact everything as someone else is not right for all those other people. And 3% sounds about correct statistically for people that would be in complete alignment with someone who had already had that success. Now, the mentors have said, and they're not wrong about this either, that the reasons that people fail is, a bunch of inconsistencies and blockages that those people have within themselves. That's true. Everyone does have those, and they have to be worked out as well. In fact, you have to work those out no matter which direction or who you're following because they will hold you back and create obstacles. But that aside, there are also other things as far as that can be holding you back and not allowing you to fall into line with what is correct for you at any given moment. And that's because we are all individual sovereign beings with our own life paths, our own purposes, our own way of doing things, and our own blueprint for how to move into the future walking in our purpose. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy into someone else's program or listen to your mentor and apply all the rules. Absolutely not. I think it's extremely valuable and I would highly recommend it. What I am saying is that if you do not learn to tune into your own voice, your own system, to what's right for you and when it's right for you and which way to go and how to integrate your life path with the information from someone who is highly successful, then you are doomed anyway, because even if you force yourself into their shoes, it isn't going to last very long if it's not your path, your timing, etc., etc. So, on that note, that's why I have been doing this for a long time. I have been trying out many different things and finding my voice and cooking all kinds of pasta and throwing it at the wall to see what will stick, if anything. And tonight, while my path has been becoming clearer and clearer, for sure, it was within the last 24 hours that everything sort of exploded with great clarity in my mind about which direction I should move in, and that's why I'm sitting where I am and saying this to you right now. There's a group of people, amazing, beautiful light rays that I talk to regularly, and we compare notes and we support each other on our ascension journey and starting various businesses, things of that nature, to keep us on our path. And we've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. And while I was talking to them earlier today, I had a candle that exploded, violently exploded, when I started channeling information about where we are, explaining where we are, the state of affairs in the world right now, and our point in the ascension journey. There was an explosion. And specifically, I was starting to explain repetitive patterns and how your ops, or the dark side, if you are indeed on the light side, flip it around, however it resonates with you, would be creating blockages and problems and coming after you and attempting to have a win on their side. That's when the candle exploded. Now, what's interesting is this has never happened to me in my entire life. I've been channeling for other people for 1.5 years now, and it has never happened. In fact, I've only witnessed something like that once with one of my mentors, and there wasn't, the actual candle did not explode with the glass and all. That's what happened tonight. But there was a very loud popping noise. Anyone who's familiar with these things, you know what I'm talking about. And it has been said that that is an expression of a non-resonant frequency. That explains the pop. It's a conflicting frequency hitting together, perhaps sort of like thunder. Perhaps that's how thunder is created. At any rate, it's a violent, aggressive sound, and that's what it represents. Or, depending on what you believe in and how you look at it, a negative, intrusive entity or being who is in the vicinity at that moment is hitting a brick wall. Same thing. And it's an expression of anger, discontent, conflict, disharmonious frequency, right? So anyway, the candle exploded, and my wooden table was on fire. I had to stop and go over there and take care of that. And then I continued speaking. And what I was talking about is repeating patterns. Repeating patterns. We have cycles that go over and over and over throughout history, and we are in the middle of a 25,000-year pattern. And it is predictable for people who study these things that we would be in this exact place. So when people are talking about raising vibration, frequency shifts, and planetary shifts, and all this stuff, that's what they're referring to. They're referring to these cycles that are predicted and have been recorded, like the Mayan calendar and everything. That's what's going on. Many beings throughout time have known of these cycles and these repetitive cycles, and they plan for them. And if you believe that there has been a force on our planet that has been controlling things and aware of the patterns, which would certainly make it easier for them to do so, then this explains a lot of what you're seeing today. And I think this video is timely because so many people are living through this experience without really understanding what's going on and having knowledge of it. And it's so much more painful than it needs to be, because if you are experiencing something and you don't know why something is happening, you have nothing to ground you. And I think that's absolutely horrifying. And I'm so grateful to be in a position where I do have some understanding and some grounding. And my job, I have chosen my job to be to help people move into that space and achieve some understanding and some peace of mind as far as how everything is playing out. Now, for some reason, human beings are not able to recognize repetitive patterns in the way that they could or should, and this is probably a program. Human beings are highly intelligent and adaptable and efficient and creative, and yet we keep repeating the same detrimental cycles over and over and over. How is it that we can develop such complex works of art, of music, of science, and yet we still behave like animals in so many ways? Well, I believe it's because our genetics have been altered and tinkered with, and we have programs that are running to keep us in a lower state of being. This has been going on for a really long time, because if you pull back and you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. Absolutely. How are we mapping the human genome and yet, we're still bombing each other and doing horrible rapes and murders, and it's just makes no sense at all. The world is full of math and patterns and geometry, and everything is repetitive. Nothing is by chance. It is not pure chaos like some people believe. Perhaps that brings them some peace, because somewhere in their higher being knows that this is unnatural and impossible, and it's a way to explain it. And it's probably a more comfortable thing to acknowledge than to acknowledge what the real causes are, which is that we live in an orderly universe, a complete, perfected universe of dark and light, and it needs to be that way in order to exist, in order to manifest in physical reality. But there is a terrible imbalance occurring at this particular point in time, and we are being dominated by dark forces, and we have been tinkered with genetically, and we are being tinkered with every day through sound and light and physical impositions as well. We'll just leave it at that. All sorts of physical impositions and mental manipulations that are bringing us into a state of chaos. This is why the suicide rate is so high, because in much of the world, we are still doing okay. We have food, we have shelter, the economies have not completely collapsed. We're doing okay, and yet the suicide rate is higher than ever. Even the dreaded CV has kind of gone to the wayside at this point. And yet, people are not feeling any better. The numbers are increasing. Why? Because the disharmonic frequencies are being turned up. There are higher frequencies naturally occurring that our planet is moving through in the galaxy. They are normal, but they are still changes, and they can be uncomfortable for your central nervous system to deal with. It's not familiar. It requires a certain amount of integration, and if you're not able to integrate, to adapt, to move with your environment and environmental stresses, well, then your body shuts down. And so if people had an understanding of what's going on, they would be able to roll with all this a lot better. And some of the changes are so obvious and so basic that the fact that the powers that be are not allowing this information to come through is proof that the people controlling the media do not have your best interests at heart. Otherwise, just the fact that we're in a solar maximus and the sun's popping off all kinds of rays that are whacking us left and right, and they affect you greatly, they're not even sharing that information. The satellites are up. People have their own channels explaining this kind of thing, but they won't talk about it on mainstream television. There are so many red flags, and I'm not here to bring anyone into my version of anything, whether it's religion or your sense of reality or anything else. I'm simply here to point out some things so that you can do your own research and draw your own conclusions. What I do want to say is that things are not what you think they are. They never have been, and they certainly won't be going into the future. We are in a major change, a major shift, and though it's uncomfortable, it might feel a little scary, it always is when you have to walk into the great unknown. It's also exciting and innovative and rewarding and all of these things. And if you can look at it that way and have some faith that what I'm saying is true, it will dissolve the apprehension, the fear, and all the negative feelings, and you're going to have a much better ride and greater successes. I'm not going to go in depth about every single thing because these videos will get way too long and attention span isn't so great and everyone has things to do. So I'm going to try to keep it as basic as possible. So back to the exploding candle. when I was talking about patterns and repetition and being able to recognize the things that are going on, that's when the candle exploded. Because the people that are in control of the planet that are struggling right now, there is a war going on between two opposing forces. You can call them black and white, positive, negative, white hats, dark hats, the cabal, the whatever. You call it whatever you want. It is going on. Okay? Angels and demons, doesn't matter. Two forces that are in disagreement about how we should proceed. That's what's going on. It has always been going on. These forces have always been around you, and they will continue on with their quest and their conflicts, whether you believe in them or not, because they believe in you. Humanity is at the center of this conflict, not the only issue in the conflict, but certainly one of the main players. If you are able to educate yourself on various things, even the science behind it, what's going on that you're not being told, the sun cycles, the planetary cycles, all of these things, it will be helpful. And I believe through research, you will be led to discover one thing after another, follow the trail of breadcrumbs, and you'll receive the information that you need. There isn't any one person who has all the information or a perspective that is 100% correct. Because you know that you had take two children, if you had twins growing up in the same family, exact same conditions, having the same experiences, if you talk to them about their childhood, they may have completely different stories because their perspectives are so unique to them, to their individual perceptions, of what's happening around them and how they feel about it. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. Take the information and process it. It's just like choosing a career path rather than following blindly in someone else's footsteps when you may not be in sync with them, and only 3% of the people are. It's likely you are not. You simply learn from their wisdom, collect the evidence, and learn to attune to your own higher being, your own chakra system, your own central nervous system that will tell you what's right and what's wrong and which way to go and how to receive those messages and act on them. When you do that, you will have success, you will have peace, and as you gain more confidence using the system, which for most people has never been used unless you come from the Asian area, maybe some native people scattered around. For the average Westerner, they don't do this, but this is what's required of us to make a smooth transition here, and it's such a great opportunity because I don't have to provide examples for you to support my perspective. It's all around you. And that's what I'm going to be doing every day. For the next 99 days, I'm going to make a video every day. It's probably going to be in the evening or nighttime because that's when it works for me. And it's midnight right now. And that's when my brain becomes very active, usually. So the math is really interesting too. I started my channel 3 years ago. And I have 36 viewers, 36 subscribers, and the number I was told to do every day, my videos, 99. These are all 369 numbers, and Nikola Tesla talked about it extensively. These are all patterns and numbers and cycles and fractals, and it's all related, it's all patterned. And if you look throughout history, that we keep repeating the same patterns without changing. And I do not believe that humans are stumbling around just that blind. I don't. I think I give them much more credit. I know that we are being manipulated. And now is such an important time because as we move through this exact point in time and the frequencies are going up, if you look at the Schumann resonance, the frequency our inner side of the planet is putting out, everything is boiling, it's increasing, the frequency is increasing. When that happens, it activates the junk DNA light codes in your brain. It wakes everyone up. It gives them the ability to see new things, experience new things, to question, to evolve quickly, and move into a golden age. Like, wow, it's amazing. It's like a really, really fast PhD program. Now, the powers that be, who clearly do not wish for us to go in that direction, and they've been continuing to push negative agendas and information that has been blown out of the water repeatedly for years, like what's the origin of mankind? At what point in time did it come into being. They're digging up fossils, and just amazing discoveries are being made that contradict so much of what we've been told, and yet they still like try to pound home their agenda. And oddly enough, it's working, and people aren't questioning, and they're listening. That's a wake-up call right there. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm just saying it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And if you want to know, if you want to get on the trail of ascension, of information, of finding out what the truth is, then you have to choose to look. You have to choose to look and be serious about it, because you have forces that do not want you to see it, that punish the people that try to provide the information, that try to punish people that even try to walk on that path. But it's becoming harder and harder for them to do it. Why? Because the ascension process is happening. The frequency is raising, whether they want it to or not. And despite their best efforts to smash it back down, it's still happening, because you can't fight, the forces of nature, the naturally occurring forces of nature of the cycle. They're doing a damn fine job. They're putting up a good fight. But if you want to ascend, if you want to know what the truth is, if you want to know exactly what's going on, you have the opportunity to get that information. You just have to have a strong desire and be open-minded to receive the information, how, what, when, where it comes to you. Your expectation of receiving anything is often what stops it from coming to you in the first place. I think about people that have such a hard time believing in something they can't see, and I kind of understand it, because I have had non-physical proof happen to me since I was a child. It's just the nature of my perceptions. If you don't have that, it could be much harder. But I also believe that some people are so thoroughly programmed about what's real and what's not real that even when those things happen to them, they explain them away. They refuse to believe in what they're seeing and experiencing, and so they write it off. And I want you to know that even though I've had very loud, in-your-face events happen to me, I still, because of programming, have pushed it out of my mind, forgotten about it. I've had things happen to me that you would say, how could you ever forget about that? Indeed, that's how I feel. And yet it gets pushed out of my mind into the fringe of the filing system, and I never, ever, ever think about it. So it's almost the same as forgetting about it. How does that happen, especially if it's something I want to remember? Exactly. Something's not right. Am I in control, or is someone else in control? That's the question. Well, the answer is you are in control if you choose to be. Anyone who thinks that they are not in control of anything is buying into the program. And there's no one that can get you out of that belief system except for you. A desire to find out the real truth is enough. You don't have to know the path. You don't have to know which way to go. You don't have to know anything about religion. You don't have to know anything about anything. You just have to have a desire. That's how you manifest. You don't know how you're going to get there. You can't see the path. In fact, it's often better if you don't see a path, because you'll get in your own way. You think you know from your limited perspective in this human body at a low frequency what the best plan of action is to get you from point A to point B. Same as following a mentor. They've made it to their point B, so they're going to tell you about their path. From your individual being, where you're standing, and your experiences, and your everything, your uniqueness of everything, that may not be the best path for you. All you need is information, which you would get from a mentor or from various sources around you, and a desire to find out what is the best way for you to get from point A to point B, and believing it'll happen. Focus on your destination, not on the journey, on the path. Focus on where you want to go and allow it to come. And this leads into surrender, pushing with everything you have, surrendering female, masculine polarities and energies and everything, which I'm going to get into later. I just want to point this out, because with everything that's happened to me, I'm well on the path, well aware of many things. I certainly don't have all the answers. This is a journey for me as well. And I wanted to get some experience and information before I ever started talking about it, because I don't ever want to give anyone false information, false hope, or anything that would possibly set them back, that I would be incorrect about. Also, my ego doesn't want to be wrong. Let's be honest. And I have achieved so much. I have so much information and proof and evidence and comrades that I feel really confident launching this right now. And the timing is everything. Timing is now, and my candle exploding was a very clear indication for me to launch this now. And I know that there will be people. I do not focus on success and numbers and everything else. I'm focused on a much bigger goal than that, past all of that. And that is the ascension of humanity. That's why I'm here. That's what drives me. Everything else falls into line. When we're all in a higher frequency vibration, we all have higher success. My success will come with that if I stay aligned. That's my personal belief, and that's how I choose to function. So I guess I'm going to wrap it up here because I'm going into about 30 minutes. I want to keep them at 30 minutes or less. I want to tell you that if you've been having strange thoughts and ideas and experiences happen to you, you're not alone, and your perceptions are accurate. If you're feeling really different in any way than the way you normally feel, even though you haven't changed anything, you're feeling depressed or anxious or concerned or anything, no, you're not imagining it. You are accurate in your perceptions. So the best thing for you to do right now, exactly right now, that requires nothing at all except your own personal being, is to stop, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and ground yourself. Ground yourself, okay? And choose which way you want to go, how you want to feel, how you wish to proceed. If you don't know how to proceed, you just know you have these out of control feelings that I mentioned just a moment ago, that's enough. Have a desire to come out of the confusion. Your brain is a very finely tuned, well operating computer. Unless you have a deficiency or it's malfunctioning, that does happen. The majority of us have efficient computers. When you have confusion, when you are spinning and spinning and spinning like an open window, it's just spinning and you can't move, that is malware. That's a program. Okay? That's not normal. It's not healthy. And learn to recognize it as such. When you are grounded and you have a free flow of electricity and information running through your computer system, questioning is not the same as confusion and spinning out. That is malware. Okay? And that is an original channeled statement on how things work. And that's what I'm going to try to explain to you. It's hard sometimes. You listen to a physicist try to explain something, you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Try to, people have their own lingo that are highly, ascended along their path of understanding what's going on. And it's not helpful for the average person. We all respond in different ways. We all have different lingos and slang and things like that. And even IQs, and so that we can discuss what's going on and understand. That's why you can listen to 10, 100 different people, and suddenly it'll click. Maybe one person didn't click for you at all, but a year later you listen to them and they click because your frequency is harmonic. At that point, you are in resonance with this other frequency, and it's always changing. Our own frequencies go up and down. You're not supposed to I'm Zen all the time. Sorry, but they're full of shit. I've talked to Tibetan monks of the Dalai Lama, and they say, yes, we have shitty days. We have days when we cannot meditate. We struggle just like anyone else. It's a human condition. So any guru who tells you differently is full of shit, okay? And I've been told, well, you get angry and you curse. Yeah, because I'm a human. Anyone who tells you that they don't do that either is full of shit, and you might want to go the other way. What I do have is control over it, and I'm expressing myself authentically, and I'm not suggesting anyone run around dropping F-bombs. I'm saying that if I were to deny the impulse to speak as I normally would, then I'm not being authentic. It interrupts my flow, my channeling, my authenticity, and my ability to be effective in the world. When you walk into a room and you have a room full of people that are all saying kumbaya in the lotus position and, pretending, and they're all like little clones, something's wrong. Look at the real life numbers. 3% of the population is in complete alignment to do something in exactly the same way. That's a fact. So let that number be your guide as you're moving forward and move into the position. If it's not with me, great. Keep going until you are in resonance, and stay on that path until you're no longer in resonance, and then allow yourself to flow until you come into more information, more people, whatever that is in resonance with you. Always maintaining uppermost in your mind your end goal of where you want to go, and you will be successful in anything that you do. So that's it for today. I hope it helped. This was Late Night Pyramid Intel, my very first pseudo live. And when we launch live, when I have 1,000 subscribers, I hope that some people that will be with me now will be along for that journey. In the meantime, if this resonated with you, please subscribe. If you think that it would work for someone else, please forward it to them. When we have 1,000 subscribers, we can go live. And why is that important? It's important because there's an energy with live channelings that you can't get on pre-recorded. I've been to see masters, masters of light, who I was drawn into their recorded material, and it's so powerful. When I went to see them in real life, I was vibrating so high that I had no stability in my physical reality. Everything was vibrating around me, and that's crazy. But that is just an example of the infinite possibilities, what we can all accomplish. Okay? So have a great day. I love you very much. Have a great night. Namaste.